You might think that fasting will make you lose your muscles, make you lose your gains. Is that really true? Megan Ramos, the medical director of Dr. Fung's clinic in Toronto. Dr. Fung is the leading researcher when it comes to fasting and what are the effects of fasting on the body. So we asked Megan, what happens to muscle growth, gains, when people fast? If you fast for an extended period of time, are you actually going to lose your gains? Find out next. Let's get to our Facebook questions, yeah? People who asked. I know one person was wondering about the mechanisms, right? So we know that if you're, Dr. Fung always talks about the caloric deficit thing or the caloric surplus, and he said it's not about the calories, it's more about insulin and so on with fat loss. Do we know, the fact that even if you do fasting, you're not going to lose muscle. This myth of, you're going to lose muscle if you fast. And the other thing is this starvation thing, like, you're going to starve if you do fasting. Both of these are myths and they've been disproved. But do we understand the mechanisms in terms of, why does muscle get preserved through fasting? And why is it like a growth hormone thing? Is it something to do with cortisol? Or we don't even know yet. Perhaps we don't know.
So we use this analogy a lot. This is actually one of Jason's that I thought was fantastic. If you're at a cabin in the woods in February and you've got a pile of firewood outside and it's freezing cold, it's frigid inside that cabin, are you going to hack up that coffee table or that dining table and use that to build a fire? Are you going to use some of that firewood that you have outside? Even if you only have a few pieces, you're going to go towards that firewood first. The coffee table, the dining table, the sofa, they're expensive. We just bought a whole bunch of new stuff. It's expensive. But they're functional and they are expensive. But you sit at a dining table, you can read, you can have a drink, it serves a purpose. The purpose of that firewood is to fuel the fire. So we all have a little extra firewood in us. So when we fast, we're burning that. Our body, for self-preservation purposes, is designed to preserve as much of the functional material as possible and dump the least functional stuff out. So all of our patients are really concerned about this, but they all come in and, everybody's got a certain amount of weight to lose and their blood sugars are through the roof. So they know that they're full of fuel, full of firewood. Glucose is firewood. So we say your body is going to dump that. It's not going to hack away at your muscles. Now, you will have some protein breakdown throughout a fast, obviously. And with a lot of our patients, we find that to be beneficial to a certain extent because it's a connective tissue, so they don't get that sagginess that they like. We have a few patients who have lost over 100 pounds or close to. And, they come in and they're like, yeah, Megan, look at my muscle. I couldn't do this, even when I was 16 to a girl. So we want to do it at 76. And they don't have any of that droopiness. So usually when a patient starts to, starts to loosen up, we'll recommend doing a little bit longer periods of fasting to experience that connective tissue breakdown. And that's a sign too, your body's just eliminating what it doesn't need. When you're fasting, it's just going to cut away whatever isn't necessary for survival at that point. Just like if you were going on some big hike and you hurt your leg, but you had to keep going, you'd want to lessen the amount of weight that you're carrying, but you're not going to get rid of your waters, that's the powder that would clean your water at a stream. You're going to keep the stuff that's vital for your survival. You might get toss out that extra knife that you don't need. So when people do these longer periods of fasting, they're going after that sagging connective tissue that your body no longer needs. Your body does its best to preserve you absolutely throughout the fasting. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, because people are just very scared of things, and some things just aren't real, and the research shows otherwise. So thanks for answering that.